So here's what we're going to talk about today. You know, a lot of our lives, and what our lives is made up to, and made up with is living, right? Yeah. Well, Pastor, obviously, obviously, our lives are made up of living, but it's not the living that I'm talking about that we normally find joy in. We normally find joy in, and that can become problematic because a lot of what our lives is performative living. Performative living. What are you talking about, Pastor? Well, performative living is the type of living that's really frustrating. Yeah, it's exhausting. It'll wear you out. When you're living performatively, you're trying to make sure that that you are accomplishing what others want you to accomplish. You know, you're trying to please the boss on the job because I needs my job. Matter of fact, I want to be promoted on the job. I want to make sure that I can progress. I want things to be good for me on my job. So you're functioning in performative living on the job because I gotta perform. I gotta perform to keep on living or live the way I want to live. You do it in your family, man. You trying to make sure people around you are accommodated, right? And that can be extremely exhausting. It could be exhausting. It could be frustrating, and we're gonna uh, talk about it in depth in a little bit. But you know, it's hard to perform for people when you don't really know what they want. It's hard to perform for people when it comes to trying to accommodate them when sometimes they haven't determined what they need to be accommodated with. It's going to be difficult for you to kind of do that, and we do it all the time. You know, we try to perform for our children. So performative living is an action that can really complicate life and bring a lot of pressure and added weight on life. You know, everybody wants to be a celebrity. Everybody wants to be known, well known. Not everybody. I ain't gonna say everybody. That's too broad of a statement to say everybody. But a lot of people want to be known. They want to have the kind of life that people look into and to see and admire. And that's a lot of pressure because for a lot of professionals, whether you're an athlete, whether you are a starlet, a movie star, or whatever, you in a lot of ways find yourself living performatively. You know, you got to please the public. You got to please the people that's around you. You got to please the people who are your fans. You got to please those kind of people, and that can be extremely exhausting, y'all. It can be extremely exhausting because you can tire of trying to meet everybody else's needs and then find your needs going lacking or missing. And when you're living like that, when you're trying to make sure that the family is pleased with what you're doing, when you're trying to make sure the spouse is pleased with what you're doing, when you're trying to make sure the boss on the job is pleased, and the neighbors and the friends and everybody else is accommodated in the job and all that kind of. When you trying to do that and you're not pleasing yourself, life is going to be a challenge. Life is going to be a challenge for you. And so I want to talk to you about some things that can give you self-help for your self-health. Oh man, y'all need to put that. Y'all need to put that in the chat. That was fire. That was fire. If I had to say something, I want to give you some self help for your self health because you gotta live healthy, man. And a lot of times, healthy living is not centered around your physical well being, but your emotional and mental well being as well. You know, you can find yourself in a place where mentally, man, you ain't doing good, and your mental state can have an effect on your physical state. It could really limit you from being as healthy as you can be when emotionally and mentally you're not in a safe place or in a good place. And so I want to talk to you about some stuff that I think that is going to help us all when it comes to us living the kind of life that will bring us joy and fulfillment. Now, this is not to say that you're not trying to be your best for people, and you're trying to live your best, right? This is not to say that. But remember what I said a minute ago. These things that I want to talk to you about really briefly and quickly is self-help for self-health, right? And here's the first thing I want to throw out to you. Don't waste time on performing to please people. Yeah, it's kind of like what I started out with saying. It's gonna be really difficult for you to perform to please people when some people don't know what it takes to please them. Yeah, it's amazing. I just want somebody to love me, but you don't know what it takes for you to be loved or to feel loved. Yeah, it's gonna be hard for me to show you how much I love you when you don't even know what that is. You haven't defined that for yourself, right? And so when we spend a lot of time trying to perform to please others, then that's less time that we're working on pleasing ourselves and trying to work on doing what I can do to make myself be better. Here's the second thing. You can't worry about what people think about your life's decisions and actions. And sometimes we spend a lot of time, y'all. And this personal is transparent. There's a transparent moment. We family, right, y'all? We family, right? So a lot of times, man, I worry about, if people are going to approve or be okay with a decision that I've made, especially when you're a church leader, when you're a pastor, man. You want to accommodate everybody. You want to make sure everybody feels like they're fitting in. You want to make sure that everybody is accommodated. And that's hard to do. I don't care if it's 5 people or 5,000. It's hard. It's hard to do sometimes because you stay up. You have sleepless nights trying to decide or trying to decipher whether or not you have pleased all components, everybody okay with a decision that you've made, right? I gotta make sure that I don't hurt nobody's feelings. I gotta make sure that everybody good. And so, that's how it is naturally in our lives, personally. When you have something by your house, man, I find that we have way more than we should have. And the reason why we do is we kind of trying to make sure we accommodate everybody. We trying to accommodate everybody. We trying to accommodate the people that love, I don't eat I don't eat butter. So okay, I'm gonna fix this here meal. I'm gonna fix this here with butter, and because they don't like butter, I'm gonna fix this over here without butter. Right? They can have seafood, but these people can't have no seafood. So I got to make 2. So now we are over accommodating, and I'm not saying, wait a minute, Pastor, but you got, if you love people, you want to help, you want to make sure that you do the best. Yeah, you want to do that, but you cannot sit up losing sleep and worrying about what people think about your decisions. Okay, so I'm having some sandwiches. Okay, if you come, you're welcome to the sandwiches. But I can't fry fish, fried chicken, have sandwiches, fix pasta salad, and I can't do all that because when y'all leave, then I got to figure out what I'm gonna do with all this stuff. Hey, come on, y'all. I know. Does anybody agree with what I'm saying? Right? Here, I'm running out of time. Here's another one. You gotta work. You gotta work to win your own personal approval. Right? You got to work to win your own personal approval. I gotta make sure that I'm approving of myself. And that's what I got to work on. I got to work on whether or not I am feeling like I am doing the best that I can be and do. I got to work on how I'm feeling about life. Because if I'm spending all my time on trying to decide how, if you are okay with how I'm living, then I don't have no self-approval, right? I don't have no self-approval. And that brings on that frustration that I talked to you about a little bit earlier, man. I need to win the approval of myself. Am I approved when I get up every day? My target is to try to do my best. I got to try to do my best. At the end of the day, then I need to have a self-assessment and ask myself, did you do everything that you could do the best that you could? Did you do everything you could do the best that you could? And if you say yeah, then you approve of your day. But if you say no, you got some stuff to work on. Okay, well now I got to work to win my own personal improvement. I got approval. I got to do that. I got to work on me for me. Right? Here's another thing. I'm gonna be through in a minute. Here's another thing. You winning has to be determined by your own criteria. You gotta determine what winning is for you, right? Because winning for you may not be winning for me. Winning for me may not be winning for you. And so I got to determine what a win is for me, because we don't all have the same wins. Our wins are not determined. And so if you're living to try to win on somebody else's criteria, then it might be a challenge for you to do that, right? Or you might not want to do that. Why would I want to win for you on your terms? What winning? Yeah, winning for you is, you got to have 18 degrees. No, not for me. Not to win for me. I don't have to have 18 degrees. You might have to have 18 degrees to feel like you've accomplished in life and you won, but I don't need 18 degrees, right? I have one of our members, man. She just loves school. I asked her a couple of Sundays ago. I said, "You gonna quit?" She said, "No, I'm thinking about doing it again." Well, that's winning for her, and that's fulfilling for her. She wants to do that. Keep on, man. I'm pushing her. You keep on doing what you think needs to be done to calculate and determine whether or not you are winning in life. You keep on doing that. For as pastor is concerned, my school days, my study days, well, I study all the time. I study because I study the word, but I'm talking about, for social achievement. I don't need to have no more degrees. I don't have to have no DR in front of my name. I don't. But for somebody else that does, I want to push you to get it. I want to push you to, because you have determined for yourself that is a win. And if you have determined for yourself that's a win, then I need to push you to go do it, right? But what has been determined by me as a win, my criteria for winning, is what I have set and what I've determined. And because this is my goal is to win based on my criteria, right? I know I talked to a relative and they were saying, you know what, I don't know about this house thing no more. They told me, they say, I don't know about keeping this house. I'm thinking about releasing it because it's overrated. And I told him, I say that's how it is for somebody. And I could understand for that individual how it could be a lot. And so they've determined that their calculation and their criteria for winning may not necessarily have to be, me have my own house. I could live in a condo or an apartment and I just won. I don't want a lot. I want a grass cutter. I want a maintenance man. I don't want all this stuff. I don't have to necessarily worry about me. I'm going long today, y'all, but I'm telling you, I gotta cover this. Here's the last thing I'm gonna say. Which is this. I want you to consider this. And this is where we're gonna end up today. Consider this. I found out something to be true. Wowing others may end up wounding you. Okay, I'm gonna say that again. Wowing others may end up wounding you. In other words, because you're trying to give this awe effect to everybody else, but you're trying to have this shock and awe for everybody else, for them looking at you and go, woo, wow, look at what they drive, look at where they at, look at what you trying to wow other people can end up wounding you. It could end up hurting you. Be careful about that. Be careful about what you're trying to do to wow other people. Right? You're trying to position yourself to make them look at you in an approved way. You want them to see, yeah, I'm this or I'm that, or look how you look, or what it is. Look at what they got. Look, where they at, and all that kind of stuff. And that wowing others may cost you. It may be a price that at the end of the day you may not want to pay. Yeah, you may not want to pay that price. You trying to wow everybody else and trying to set their life on fire, right? You try to make them look at you like, woo, wow. You trying to wow them, and here it's costing you so much. The price that you're paying trying to wow them is wounding you. Is wounding you. So be careful about that. You always want to be your best. You always want to look your best. You always want to feel your best. Because let me tell you something. Don't nobody, well, maybe some of y'all could agree. But see, when I feel like I've dressed the way I like to dress, and I smell like I like to smell. First lady asked me years ago, she said, you put on cologne every single day? I said, yeah, I put on cologne every day. Y'all, I got a bunch of bottles of cologne. I put on cologne every single day, and guess what? I don't put on cologne for nobody else. I put on cologne to smell it myself. I like to smell good. I put it on for me. Now, if it by chance y'all smell it or somebody else smells it, that's good. That's good. But when it comes down to it, I really do it for me, y'all. I really do, right? And so wowing others can be a price that you have to pay. You just got to you got to determine whether or not you're willing to pay the cost. That's all. Okay, that's it.